If it's one thing I love for the gaming industry, it's competition. And what I mean is actual competition, not only for your dollar, but also providing a better product and service for you on a consistent basis. Companies fighting for your time, not trying to lock you into specific services or monetize you on a consistent basis, but actually provide you a better experience overall and fighting for the user rather than actually going around and creating an oligopoly. And why do I bring up competition right now? Well, it turns out that Xbox may in fact be doing the one thing no other console manufacturer will be trying right now, and that's going to go head to head and go back to their roots and compete in the PC marketplace. Ever since Xbox and even Microsoft and Games for Windows Live were basically shunned out of PC gaming, it really goes to show how much Xbox and Microsoft have fallen off in this space specifically. And the thing is, it looks like the next Xbox console is going to be one of their biggest gambles yet. Going back into PC gaming, going into trying and fighting for those other 49 million active concurrent users that are simply sitting on Steam, and even then trying to be the de facto home or place where you collect all of your games rather than trying to fight with Steam specifically. The thing is though, this is a huge gamble and it could pay off dividends, but it also could blow up in their face. And it all has to do with how Xbox is going to be setting up their next generation and even the storefronts they're going to be teaming up with. Because according to VGC, the head of the Epic Games Store says the current plan is to have the store on the next Xbox console on day one. The next Xbox is believed to be a hybrid system capable of playing Xbox console games and PC games with access to other stores. Already, I'm incredibly worried about the next generation Xbox simply because we haven't heard an actual peep whether or not Steam is going to be available on that platform as well. There are some other concerns that I'm going to bring up later on in this video though, so definitely keep an eye out for that. The thing is though, we are watching Xbox not only completely turn their back on the console gaming space, but in fact try to go ahead and include them into the PC gaming landscape. We've also seen specific things about Xbox discussing how their PC Game Pass growth has actually exploded for them by going ahead and providing a better overall experience on PC Game Pass than even through the Xbox PC app. It's nowhere near what Steam does right now, but it is a step in the right direction, even though the pricing could definitely use a bit of work if you ask me. The problem that I have right now is this. With Epic making this announcement, it feels more like a partnership between Xbox and Epic rather than just simply saying, hey, they're a Windows-based device, we're going to have our storefront on there, and that's simply it. It really feels like they're trying to work together specifically to corner Steam out of the market, unless we actually hear an announcement from Valve saying they're going to be on the Xbox storefront as well. Now, here's the thing. I can clearly see that happening, mostly because it turns out it may in fact be a Windows-based device, simply just like the Xbox ROG Ally X having GOG Galaxy, Epic, and even Steam and Battle.net. That would be a simple thing and a good thing for every consumer and customer, because in that way, it doesn't matter where you game, you're going to have every storefront available to your fingertips, which is why PC gaming is in fact so great. The thing is, there's more to this article though, so let's go from there. In an interview with GameFile, Epic Games Store head Steve Allison said the company had been having discussions with Microsoft about having their storefront on the console. Allison was discussing the Asus ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X handhelds, which are essentially handheld PCs which boot into an Xbox app, but also provide access to other stores like Steam, GOG, Ubisoft Connect, Battle.net, and the EA app. Allison also continued by saying this: we definitely plan to be on the new hardware for Xbox, because unless their policy or stance on it changes, they are telling us they're going to welcome that, Allison said. And we're going to be there like on day one, and that will probably require us to build in whatever their requirements are, some sort of software to support that. Now, this could go one of two very specific ways. Either A, Microsoft and Epic provide themselves some sort of team up in order to go ahead and provide the Epic Games Store on the actual Xbox next generation console, or Xbox could do the right thing, which is basically release the system as an actual Windows device, thereby allowing every single storefront and every single platform available in one specific hub, which is exactly what we get right now on PC, letting gamers choose the best place place to play for them. And I think that would be the best pro-consumer move that Xbox could in fact do. They don't have to have an actual partnership with Epic or even with Valve to have this become something that's good for them. They can simply say, it doesn't matter the storefront, it doesn't matter where you play or where you have your games, having everything in one spot for you and having access to it is exactly what we think is best for you as a gamer. Boom, done. There it is. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But the thing is, the way Epic was sounding was as if they had to make a dedicated app for the actual console. And that's where things could get really weird. Because if that's the case, then Xbox is still falling back into the old ways of what they were doing right now, having dedicated UWP apps for their specific pieces of hardware, which means providing more restrictions and more friction for developers to even make games for the new Xbox console or even apps for storefronts on that specifically as well, and also still locking down ways of actually controlling what apps are available to you as a user or even a customer or consumer. Personally, I would love if Xbox went around and decided to say, hey, it's just going to be Windows. We're stripping out all the AI, all the garbage of Teams and Outlook, and just giving you a dedicated gaming Windows OS that you could use just like any other PC. And that would be the ideal scenario. But the thing is, that may not be the only thing happening, because in an article by Jez Corden, it looks like the next generation Xbox console is going to be exactly that. And there may even be changes to PC Game Pass. Because according to Windows Central, Xbox's Gen 10 vision is rolling into view. Here's how Microsoft's vision for Xbox is the most ambitious and risky bet ever. With the article saying this, the next-gen Xbox is starting to take shape, and new signals from Asus suggest Microsoft is targeting 2027 for its next major hardware push. And that lines up with what I reported last year, with Microsoft's future console shaping up to be far closer to a streamlined Windows 11 gaming PC than a traditional Xbox. For an idea of how the Gen 10 Xbox will function, you can look to the current Xbox Ally. The Xbox Ally platform from Asus is a hint at a very early version of next-generation Xbox console formula. The interface will sit on top of Windows, disabling unnecessary processes to create a gaming-first environment. You will be able to exit out to go to full Windows, much like you can exit out to Linux on the Steam Deck, and run practically any program or accessory you can think of. Turn your next-gen Xbox into a streaming PC, coding station, music production studio, or whatever else. The difference here is that the Gen 10 Xbox PC will also run all of your current Xbox games, in addition to games from Windows 11 PC stores like Steam. This is exactly what I think they should be focusing on. Microsoft has always been a PC-focused company first and foremost, no matter what people try to say about the Xbox branding itself. Hell, the reason why it's called Xbox is because of DirectX that we all have on Windows specifically. That API for graphics, yeah, that's pretty much why it's called that. If Xbox is taking the right approach and literally copying exactly what Steam does, giving you a desktop mode and then turning around and giving you the option for a gaming mode, we would see a very different kind of Xbox and a very different kind of group coming into the actual console gaming space. When you look at the reality of things though, even right now, you're seeing literally every console basically become its own enclosed form factor PC, requiring updates, being online, having to sign into specific things, and yet having all the worst aspects, having to pay for online multiplayer, having multiple apps as well, and even then downloading the majority of your games and updates, and also fiddling with settings. That's right, if you bought a PS5 Pro, you're going to be fiddling with quality mode, performance mode, ray tracing performance mode, quality ray tracing performance mode, and everything else. You're basically gaming on a PC without all the benefits of just gaming on a PC. The thing is though, this could be the beginning set of what Xbox needs to get back into the zeitgeist of gamers, and even going through and saying, well, if I'm going to spend all this money, I want to have access to basically every platform, and if the games run well and it's easy to use, it could be a good thing overall. And that is exactly what I think people are actually looking for. Gone are the days of people wanting a closed ecosystem device. You're going to have those people screeching online on Twitter asking for that, but the reality is people buy their games in too many places, even if they use the Epic Game Store. Why? Gross. But you're never going to convert someone like myself, who has a huge library of games on Steam and even on GOG, to go through and buy an Xbox to remove themselves from all those games that I've already purchased, or even then, all those games that I should have access to, simply because, again, these consoles are in fact form factor lockdown PCs. Why not give me the access to the libraries where I want to buy the game? If I'm buying your hardware, I might even use your service because of it. And I think that's what Xbox is betting on, enticing people and players to say, hey, look, you don't have to worry about RAM prices. You don't have to worry about HDDs or anything else like that, or VRAM or NVIDIA trying to fuck you on a daily basis. You can just go on down and buy our PC Xbox console and have access to every game you've already bought, every storefront you like to game on, and just use that there. And even then entice people into using their Game Pass service. And I think that's going to be what is really going to bring people back to that ecosystem, and even then provide a whole new market for players as well. But the thing is, though, there's more to this article, so let's keep going. Microsoft hasn't fully internally committed to a hard 2027 launch window for the next-gen Xbox platform, since so much of it hinges on improvements to Windows 11 and other factors. Microsoft's Windows and Xbox teams are collaborating harder than ever to get the OS into shape for a polished console-like experience on Xbox, and thus they aren't forcing themselves to adhere to a specific hard cutoff point. You can think of 2027 as, quote, the best case scenario, but having a polished experience is the North Star for Xbox. There are a ton of rumors flying around about the potential price points for the next-gen Xbox, but the truth is Microsoft itself doesn't know how much the next-gen Xbox will be just yet. It's for the same reasons that Valve has yet to announce the Steam Machine price, and why Asus waited until the very last minute to announce the Xbox Ally price. Global tariffs, component costs, geopolitics, and supply issues have prices heavily in flux right now. And here is exactly what I've been calling Microsoft to do for an actual very long time. This isn't about Xbox versus PlayStation or Xbox versus Nintendo. That battle is dead and gone. What Xbox is fighting for is, in fact, against Steam and Steam OS and even Linux itself. We've been seeing Linux increase its user base consistently month over month, quarter over quarter, and people getting very excited about the Steam Machine directly. And that is going to be the bigger competitor for Microsoft, more than anybody could even in fact care for. Xbox and Microsoft are not looking for users in terms of console sales like every other fanboy you see on Twitter. No, what they're looking for are users in their operating system to attach their AI to and then force their other applications onto those users. And that's what they're going to be counting, and then guiding those users away from actual storefronts like Steam and Epic and GOG and pushing them more towards the Xbox PC app. The thing is, though, it's only going to work if Xbox can actually put the right pieces into play and properly configure what PC gamers and console gamers in fact want out of those specific applications. Having that same functionality of the desktop mode, giving you full Windows access, but also a game mode, giving you a more cleaner UI, is exactly what Microsoft can do to entice players to have that specifically. And we even see it on the Xbox ROG Ally X and Ally right now. When you boot up your actual handheld Ally, what happens is you go directly into the Xbox PC app first, and then you can customize it later on if you choose to have the Steam app open up instead. And I think that's going to be what people might in fact be doing. But Xbox doesn't care about what store you buy your game on. They're selling their games everywhere. What they care about is the user data and the information you're getting by using Windows specifically. And if they can actually make Windows a proper gaming OS, they could in fact do things to stop Steam's overall growing share in the Linux gaming space, even though they made massive gains with Proton as well. But it's not just that. It turns out other people online are also weighing in on their opinions about what Xbox could do in the future. Take a look. Here's Paris on Twitter saying this: everything at Jez Corden is reporting about the next-gen Xbox is exactly what I've expected. An open platform, hybrid PC console experience with access to third-party digital storefronts and full backwards compatibility powered by Windows. Improved Xbox UI that scales across console, PC, cloud, and mobile. I also expect OEM devices, but they will all use AMD SoC for back compat. A lot of questions that still need to be answered about price, availability, and etc., but a lot of time left before the full reveal, maybe the 25th anniversary and a potential holiday 2027 launch. And even as someone who is on PC primarily, this is actually incredibly exciting. Not because we're seeing Xbox compete in a different way, but because we're watching an entire company completely shift its focus and put itself in a position that is probably going to be incredibly high risk and even high reward. If Xbox can pull this off, if Xbox can clean up Windows, if they can do everything right and sit good by what PC gamers have been talking about the last 20 plus years plus, having to work with Steam and Valve, this could be a true competitor to Valve and Steam specifically. Not like what Epic Games is doing, where they're trying to lock away exclusivity, but by actually providing a proper storefront that people can compete on. GOG is doing this simply by adding more Linux support for their older games and providing people with a unique style of way of playing their games from the past eras. Xbox can also do this by giving cross-play functionality and cross-progression simply by logging into the Xbox account that you have, depending upon wherever you buy your game, whether it's on Steam or even on the Xbox PC app. They can also do this by cleaning up Windows 11 specifically, and not just trying to guide people away through actual collar and hook, but instead guiding people to Windows simply because it's a better platform overall and provides better backwards compatibility for older titles as well. This could be what Microsoft truly needs to get into the right headspace, and even in a positive one for a lot of customers and consumers. The problem though that I have is it's Microsoft, and they are notorious at fucking things up. One of my biggest concerns that I'm going to be throwing out as a guess is that we may in fact even see the same repeat of TV, and not with television for the next Xbox console, but in fact with AI. With Satya Nadella being on stage going AI, Copilot, AI, which is nothing of what actual gamers want to in fact hear when you want to try and sell them a $1,000 PC console hybrid. What they want to hear is, let me play all my games from whatever storefront I want, and that's it. That's all they basically have to do. Literally, if Phil Spencer just walked onto the stage and said, hey, check this out, hits the Xbox home button, pulls up Steam, then plays God of War on the Xbox, literally, that's going to be it. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, they're not going to do that. They're going to fuck this up in some way, because that's exactly what I'm betting. And hopefully I'm betting wrong, but I feel like that's going to be the right way to call things. But it looks like Microsoft and Xbox are going to go through and take the right steps to make their PCs feel more like consoles, simply because they've already added actual audio cues to the Xbox ROG Ally and Ally X PC app, and even on the PC app right now on your Windows 11 device, where if you use a controller, you'll hear the exact same sounds you would as if you were running an Xbox Series X or S console. That, I feel, even though it is very small and minor, is a good signal and indicator of what's going to be happening with Xbox, and how they're going to be trying to tie everything into an actual ecosystem rather than having separations between Xbox and PC. They want everything all together, and they're going to do whatever they can to make it happen, even if they have to change Xbox PC Game Pass. Because also, according to Windows Central Gaming, Xbox Game Pass got huge changes last October that expanded Microsoft's service with new benefits and a price hike, but it's reportedly looking to further revamp the program. We may see PC Game Pass merged with another tier and additional third-party service bundles too. With the article from Windows Central saying this, the news comes from Tom Warren of The Verge and the latest edition of his weekly Microsoft column, Notepad in particular. He reports that in addition to potentially testing free Xbox Cloud Gaming soon for a possible launch later in 2026, Microsoft is also looking to, quote, expand Xbox Game Pass and is, quote, is in the early stages of exploring the ways to do so. Specifically, Warren says that the firm might be planning to merge PC Game Pass with another tier, such as Xbox Game Pass Premium. Windows Central can corroborate this with our own sources. He also notes that Microsoft is looking to bundle more third-party services with Game Pass memberships. And here is the concern that I have already. PC Game Pass is on its own an incredibly great deal, even after the price hike. It's the only tier right now in Game Pass that gets you day one games on the PC, and also doesn't make you pay $30 fucking a month. And the idea of having an ad-supported free tier is exactly what people are trying to, in fact, avoid. Microsoft has all the ability to make the right decisions and the right plays, yet they're refusing to do so, slow even at these key integral points. And this is exactly why Xbox's new plan is a huge gamble in my opinion and could blow up in their face. If they partner specifically with Epic, it could be a huge downturn towards everybody else on the PC platform because many PC gamers are not going to move to an Xbox console in their living room if the Steam machine is right there for less price and they can even access a Steam app on their Xbox PC. That's going to be a huge factor. Xbox and Microsoft cannot specifically create an alignment with Epic only and not provide access to every other storefront as well on their system. On top of that, the idea of moving PC Game Pass to the premium tier and removing day one access to games by then forcing people into Ultimate for more money a month is going to cause another downturn of cancel Game Pass that they already had to deal with. What Xbox should in fact do is lower the price of Ultimate down back to what we're seeing with PC Game Pass right now, $16.99, $14.99. That's the actual sweet spot. Maybe even $19.99 at the very utmost idea of what you're going to be paying for games day one on that service. Because the thing is, if they don't follow Valve's playbook and they don't learn from Valve's mistakes from the previous past, they're going to be doing the one thing we've been seeing them do for quite some time, and it's trying to ice skate up a goddamn hill. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comments section down below. If Xbox knocks us out of the park, will you be picking up the Magnus or will you stick with the Steam machine as well? Personally, I'm going to go ahead and get the Steam machine. I want to see what that thing does first, and then watching the price point and what Xbox is going to be doing with their next generation PC console hybrid. And speaking about what you got to say, here in fact is the comment of the day from yesterday's video. With Azerg9856 saying this: we are in Cyberpunk, but without all the cool implants and tech. Azerg, you've got a great point, and if you ever noticed, the Ripper docs who install all the Chrome and the actual Cyberpunk tech onto people are usually the ones with the least amount of actual Chrome or Cyberpunk tech actually installed in their own bodies. Really makes you think now, doesn't it? But you know what? If you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my hot takes in the gaming industry, and even more, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 108K. And I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by about 800 people with TTS. It's a hell of a show, trust me. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel. Like SNL back in the day. Funny. With all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!